channel, Moon Catching with Erica. I am Erica, your fertility nutritionist, here to show you all the ways to support your natural fertility. So I took the Dutch test and I wanted to share the results with you. They give you a 16-page report, so I did my best to kind of condense it as much as possible. There's so many things I could talk about, but I just wanted to highlight some of the key points. So here those are now. Okay, so this is the second part of the Dutch test that I took. I took a bundle. It was a bundle. It came with the mapping test, but you can order it just by itself. And it came with the Dutch Plus, which you can also just order by itself. My sex hormones is at the top of the list. And just to let you know, I should be within these ranges. We all should be, right? Most of us aren't going to be in the postmenopausal range. Hopefully all are. If someone does this test too, your tests aren't showing that you're in the postmenopausal range. So hopefully it's just low or high or whatever, but not, so much so that your body thinks you're postmenopausal. These numbers and values were gathered from what was happening. Cycle day 22, measurement number 8. So I was definitely clearly in the second half of my cycle. If I ovulated, let's say around day 14, I was well into my second half of my cycle, right? Normally you would want your progesterone to peak around 7 to 10 days, post ovulation. So if I ovulated on 14, 10 would be 24. So this is about 8 days post ovulation. So my estrogen, or specifically estradiol, is in the normal range. My progesterone is in the normal range also, but to be a 9 is not so bueno. As I showed you, my progesterone levels aren't very high or robust. 10 will be great, 15 will be great, 20 will be great. So for me to be 9, I'm not really even in the game. Testosterone looks good though. The next one shows your adrenal hormones. So my DHEA is out of range. So again, the stars are the highs and the lows. And it looks like, okay, 409, it's low, but it's not too low. Wrong. It's super duper low because DHEA is age specific. A lot of these hormones are age specific. So hopefully when you're getting your test done, your doctors are providing you age specific range too. Okay, so I'm 38 currently. So my range should be at the minimum 1,300 to 3,000. Your girl is 409, okay? So for 13,000 to 300, I'm way out of range. I should be, over here somewhere? I don't know where this would be, but not here, okay? And DHEA is very important to produce and mature and develop your follicle. And I mentioned most likely my issue is evident by my hormones is I'm having follicular problems. My follicle is not developing, so my estrogen is not developing. The egg inside is probably not developing very well. And then later on, the corpus luteum is basically still the follicle. The corpus luteum, therefore, can't produce my progesterone. So this kind of is good news, bad news. Good news to see, good to see a number apply to this. Good to see that this is something that I need to be working on, right? But kind of depressing that it's so low. But you can only go up, right? Like I said, I'll talk about these cortisol things, right? So cortisol is your stress hormone. Stress, it does a lot of things, but we always talk about it as a stress hormone. So we'll talk about that in a minute. This just gives a numerical value like you're used to seeing, what the number is, what the range is, is that high or low. So we're going to actually skip all those numbers because who wants to read that? And they give you this great visual, this flow chart. What is of note on here? So one thing to kind of think about is that all of your hormones cascade down have one cascade. I like to think of it like that game on, it's like a kid's game. When you drop the ping pong ball at the top, it has all those pins inside and it goes boing, 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 boing. You have no idea where it's going to end up, right? There's so many different paths for it to take. That's kind of what I think about it for our hormones, because our hormones have enzymes that make it into this, or if not, if it chooses a different enzyme, it'll make it into that. So it can be testosterone, or further down the line, testosterone actually, or all estrogen starts off first as testosterone. It just gets, different enzymes that shift it to this. So it's interesting to know, we're always talking about estrogen, but what's going on with our testosterone? What's going on further up with DHEA, which I just showed you on the other side? So let's start there. Oh, and by the way, one key thing is that all of your sex hormones start off with as cholesterol. So your liver health, whether your diet, well, all these things are affecting how your body makes your sex hormones, how your body makes progesterone, how your body makes estrogen, and even testosterone is very important. It's kind of, all these are kind of like Goldilocks kind of thing, but as women, we do need testosterone. We just don't need too much of it, right? This kind of can shut off ovulation, and this is kind of what's going on with women with PCOS. They have too high testosterone, so they never ovulate, or they're things like that. So I don't want to over-explain because I could be here forever in this video. Who knows how long this video is going to be? Okay, so let's get into it. So, as I showed you, my DHEA is bupkis, right? It's poop. And then the S right here stands for the sulfation. So it has a sulfur group added on to the DHEA. This is also poop, and the same thing. It has an age-specific value. Mine at the lowest should be 60. What am I, 12? Yeah, so I'm way out of range again, which, hello, there was no DHEA to add a sulfur group too. So yeah, of course that's super low. So like I said, everything starts as cholesterol, and then there's a cascade down, and estrogen is towards the bottom, right? So this is all happening in your liver, the way that your body metabolizes your estrogens. This seems like it's not really involved in the fertility conversation. What is estrogens and how they're metabolized? What does that have to do with anything? Well, all of this is basically showing your overall health, right? Health is fertility. Fertility comes from good health. And so how your body decides to metabolize its estrogens is very important. So I like this graph because they break it up into this color-coded system. Green, good; red, bad; blue, we'll talk about, right? So you want your body, like I said, this is happening in your liver, which is why liver health is so important. Liver health is so important for your way your body metabolizes estrogen. I'm not estrogen dominant, which I actually thought I was, because I have my cervical mucus be doing like really funky stuff, and that's all estrogen. So I thought it was really high, but it's not. It seems to be high. My body perceives it as high because there's not enough progesterone to combat it, right? Progesterone is like the chill, like, all right, come on, calm down, everybody, chill out. But I don't have enough of that to shut estrogen off. So my body is always responding to estrogen, even though it's not very high itself. So estrogen dominance isn't like high number of estrogen. Estrogen dominance can sometimes just refer to dominant in comparison to progesterone. Okay, so we do need to know how our body is metabolizing this in a lot of ways to see how our body is reacting to estrogen. So the green path basically is showing that your body, this is the preferred way, as it says, protective. This is the protective pathway that your body should ideally be sending most of the estrogen down to metabolize it, to excrete it, to package it up and ship it out. And your body, the expected percentages should be between 60 and 80%. Mine is 45. So I should be sending more of my estrogen down this protective pathway. The most harmful pathway, not least ideal pathway, is the red one. And these are all enzymes, liver enzymes that will choose, or, based on their numbers, will send estrogen down these paths. And you don't want a lot to go down this way, because if too much of it builds up and isn't eliminated properly, it can start to bind to and damage your DNA. So this is more cancer causing, this is more disorder, this is the disease causing pathway. There are ways to get it green again, depending on your glutathione is a very powerful, potent antioxidant that is found in your liver. And then it can be methylated to, again, package it up and shift it and compact it in a certain way that is not so harmful. My body is not out of range, thankfully. It is on the higher end, right? So maybe I will want to get it lower, but it's currently not out of range. The questionable pathway is this one, right? Because all of this, you need them all, right? None of these are bad as in you should have zero, right? It's all about too much, the right amount, not too much, right? So even in this pathway, it's not red, but it could be dangerous, which is what is going on with me. Expected range should be at max 30% of your estrogen should be sent down this pathway. I'm sending 44% of my estrogen down this pathway. So I'm way out of range for that. And the problem is that this is the one that is causing cell and tissue proliferation, right? This is the one that is associated with breast tissue, breast cancer, when you're having tender breasts and, your breast gets swollen like right before your cycle, when you're PMSing, this is what's going on, a lot of estrogen, this type of estrogen. Another thing is endometriosis, right? So you don't want a lot to go down here. It is important that I start rectifying this ASAP. And we want to send, if we have too much over here, we want to send it down the green pathway. And like I said, this is all happening in your liver. So anything you can do to support your liver, I'm always talking about even simple things like dandelion tea, milk thistle teas, anything that, even water, right? Flushing your body, making sure you're flushing out everything. These are like the simple fixes, right? To make sure you are supporting your liver health. B vitamins are very important for the liver. You can't even take glutathione. It does come in a supplement form. I have too much blue. So I want to start sending more things and supporting this enzyme and supporting this pathway. So I want to make sure that my body can methylate and send the estrogens out of my body in this other form. So these are phases of detoxification. I think I should probably have said that way at the beginning. So this is how your body detoxifies estrogen, because estrogen can be toxic. We do need it, but we don't need too much of it just sitting around. So we want to make sure that my body can excrete it. And right now, my body isn't doing the best job of putting a methyl group. Again, these are a methyl group, a sulfate group. These are ways that your body kind of packages things so that it can be eliminated properly and metabolized better. So I will want to make sure that I'm supporting this phase of my detoxification pathway. It's phase 1, phase 2, and then digestion, making sure I'm able to excrete it all out, because your gut has enzymes or bacteria, that can basically take all these caps off and put the regular estrogen back into circulation to start wreaking havoc again, right? So you can, again, you can take supplements if you want. You can take DIM, you can take IC3, you can take all these different things, or you can certainly start with food first. So this is your cruciferous vegetables, carrots and flax seeds and broccoli. Even broccoli sprouts are really good. These will be all things that will help your body shift down this way. And then, making sure that you're able to excrete it all out. Cortisol, basically, this is the one that I showed you earlier that I said I'll come back to. This is all talking about your body's stress response, right? And stress, we all think about, oh, I'm feeling stressed, work is stressing me out. My man is stressing me out. We think about stress like that emotional, mental stress, right? But there's also a physical stress called oxidative stress. And this is an internal stress that's happening within your organs and your tissues and your cells. And, it's just causing, depending on what's going on, it's causing this irritation and it's stressing your body out. It's stressing your cells out. It's causing them to work too hard or not be able to work as well as they want to, etc. And I like that they say here, it can be stress with inflammation. Again, it's this internal thing that is happening. And inflammation is a very key source of this oxidative stress, this internal stress, right? So when we are stressed, there's kind of a trickle-down effect that starts in our brain, from our hypothalamus to our pituitary to our adrenal gland. And then, this is all triggering our stress response and our stress hormone, cortisol. And this is the flight or fight hormone, right? If our body perceives that we are in danger in some kind of way, it will start releasing cortisol so that you can react to said danger. Cortisol lets you react to that danger, right? Normally, or, if we think the way that we have evolved, this would have been, a stress of physical danger, right? We need to run from the bear. We need to run from the danger, right? In our day-to-day lives, our cortisol response is kicking off and there's no physical danger, but this is the perceived stress. Okay, work, relationships, traffic, This is how our body is in this constant state of stress when it's really not a protective kind of stress. It's not protecting us anymore that they used to, right? Especially when this doesn't get turned off, right? If you are in constant stress all day long from morning to evening, it doesn't really get turned off. And so this is part of the HPA axis. There is even an HPO for ovary axis. So we need to make sure that this pathway is open and clear and there's no issues, even going all the way up to our brain health. When you do the test, it lets you test your cortisol level, your body's stress response, because we all know that this has such a huge bearing on, first of all, any disorder, any health issue, our whole health, our whole body health, but certainly on fertility, right? And the way that our body is able to produce healthy eggs and, do the whole shebang of getting our body ready for pregnancy, sustaining the pregnancy, and all those things, right? Okay, so that's why we need to talk about the stress response. So we talked about this earlier. We already know, okay, yes, okay, fine. DHEA is, not where it should be, right? It's way low. It should be 1300 minus 409. We already talked about that. But it's important to know that, okay, we have two things going on. My DHEA is super low, and it is also made in the adrenal gland. Another thing that is super low is my cortisol level, which is also made in the adrenal gland. So if my cortisol level for the days that this was tested was really low, it could mean that, okay, is it that my body wasn't in a lot of stress, or, did it just not make a lot of cortisol that day? We will look to the adrenal gland. We also are going to start looking to the adrenal gland, like, why isn't there a lot of DHA? Who's responsible for making all the DHA? Who's not doing their job? Oh, it's the adrenal gland again. So what is most likely happening, or has happened in my specific case, is that extended, prolonged stress, being in a hyper state of stress, my body is and was always releasing cortisol, which puts a strain, or put a strain on the adrenal gland. So even though I'm still currently stressed, I'm not currently making a lot of cortisol. And the gland itself, the adrenal gland itself, has been suffering, so it can't do its other functions and other jobs and make things like DHEA. So one thing that could also be happening is that my stress response was in hyperdrive, so it's always like turn on, always trying to turn the adrenal gland on. So it kind of has like, adrenal fatigue, a little burnout, maybe, of the adrenal gland. So one way to combat this is to turn off the stress. So this is lifestyle for sure, right? This is things that I need to be doing to chill out, relax. Easier said than done, right? I'm talking to myself, right? Easier said than done, but I need to stop triggering this pathway so much and give my adrenal glands a chance to relax. Another thing too is that I need to be just supporting the adrenal gland in particular, supporting it so that it can go and start making more DHEA, supporting so that it can start better producing my cortisol. So another thing that I'm experiencing is extreme fatigue, like pass out in the middle of the day. I don't, because there's a crazy child running around, but that I do hit this crazy wall where I could literally fall asleep in my chair, like fall asleep standing up, like fatigue, okay? And that happens almost every day. So my energy, I have crazy fatigue, my energy, I'm still super stressed, right? So let's go down here. So let me show you more of this. So one of the great things about this test, the Dutch Plus test, gives you it's called a mini stress test. The act of waking up every morning, that your body has to go from dormant to like boom, is a stress on the body. And we talk about stress always in this negative thing, but it could be that's just a word, right? It's just stress. It puts this strain, or it puts a stress on the body, but it's not like a horrible thing. It's supposed to happen. And what is happening for me is that my cortisol levels, this is all measuring cortisol, right? I'm saying, my cortisol levels aren't very good, right? They're pretty low. They're way below the low range, right? They're out of range low. So I'm low, right? I'm actually smidge underneath the line, right? So I'm low. So you would think I would follow this low line, right? This is the low range limit. This is the high range limit, right? So you would think if I start low, I should keep low for the rest of the day. No, I start low and I have this immense surge, putting me in the middle of the range 30 minutes after I wake up. So this was the saliva tubes that I submitted. It was like 5 of them. You wake up, you spit in one, like as soon as you open your eyes, 30 minutes, you spit in one, and then an hour after you wake up, you do the spit. And then this was like at 4:30. This was like right before bed. I think I did mine at I think it was 9:30 or 10. I can't really remember. So these are how your body measures your cortisol throughout the day. And it's these first 3 that is the stress response, the morning stress response. How does your body respond to the stress of waking up every day? My body does not respond very well to the stress of waking up every day. In fact, there's a number down here. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Basically, between this number and this number should be between a 50 and 160 change difference. Between this number, my waking response in 30 minutes after I woke up, I had a 350 degree change. They say it should be closer to 160. So I'm well overreacting. My body overreacts to the act of waking up. And this could be something like anticipatory stress, which I do have, right? Because I wake up at 5, I'm at my desk at 5, maybe 30, I make my tea and I get my breakfast together, whatever. So I'm working in 30 minutes. So already my brain is on like, okay, what's on the desk? What do I have to do? Who do I need to talk to? What do I have to send? What work do I have to, get done? All those things to kind of make sure that I can get my day started, because I only have a limited amount of time to work before my daughter wakes up. So I wake up at 5, or my alarm's set at 5. She's up sometimes, sometimes as early as 7, 7:30 sometimes. It's not always 8. I would love to work to 8. But basically I'm saying that I have a ticking time bomb on me every single morning. So that makes sense why my stress response, anticipatory stress, is super high. Another thing that's going on for me is that for a while, I was having crazy back pains when I slept. Like I'll go to bed fine and wake up every day with horrible back pains. And no, it's not the mattress. It's the curvature of my spine, blah, 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 blah. And I'm seeing a chiropractor, thankfully, to fix that, to work on that pain. So something like that, having pain as soon as you wake up, that sends your body into a stress. You have blood sugar issues that can send your body into a stress right when you wake up. So this is what's going on for me. So basically, if my adrenal output isn't making a lot of cortisol, it's not because, she's just so chill, she doesn't make a lot of cortisol. No, that's not what's happening. I know for a fact, I'm telling you, I know that my body is high stress. I'm under a lot of stress. And so my cortisol level, if it's not being made, it looks like it's low, it just means it's not being made. So I have a lot of adrenal fatigue going on. So just supplementing with adrenal glandular products, or anything that supports the adrenal gland in general. That I chose to do adrenal glandular product to support my adrenal health and to just support the tissues there. And again, the other thing I need to do is work on this pathway, stop triggering and signaling my body to stress out my adrenal gland so much. So this all happens. This is a lot of mind work. This is a lot of lifestyle changes, modifications to make sure that I'm not in hyper stress drive all day long. So how do I even get this down, right? My morning stress, to maybe have a better nighttime routine or day before routine when I close my desk. Okay, this is what we're going to work on tomorrow. This is how much time it's going to take. Things like that, so that as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm not freaking out. If I already maybe had a better plan the night before, this will kind of help me not, freak out every day in the morning. Just to show you, so melatonin is also very important for good, strong egg quality, egg development. And anything over 50 should be good. So I'm good here with 77. If this is tanking out, melatonin is made by your pineal gland. So again, we're not just taking willy-nilly DHEA without knowing that it's too low, right? We're not just willy-nilly taking melatonin without knowing that we have an issue. So if I, say I'm a, regular person, right? And I don't know what I know, which I'm so thankful I know what I know. But if I didn't know what I know, my girlfriend's like, oh, you know, my sister took melatonin and that was really helping with her egg health. Okay, give me some. I don't need any more. Or same thing, you know, someone is taking, or if I'm saying, which I'm saying I have added DHEA. Maybe I didn't say that yet. I have added DHEA supplementation to my regime. But that is because my issue is super low. You know, I wouldn't just have, or I should not have just done that willy-nilly. That may not have been my issue. So it is possible to have too much, right? What if I was already at, you know, 2,500 and I start taking it, now I'm out of range. I'm end up in the 30, now it's 3,500. You know, you don't want to have too much of these things. You want to be, there's a dial for a reason. You want to be in the sweet spot. So you can't, or you shouldn't, it's not very recommended that you just take these supplementations without knowing what's going on. Okay, so that's it on this page, and I'll show you the last of it. So this page just has the traditional number format. And I really like this because I have been plant-based vegan for a while. I did recently start adding back in salmon and eggs, but I think at the time of this test in April, I was still, you know, plant-based vegan. Anyway, so B12 is only found in animal products. And so I was supplementing, and it was just really good to verify that, okay, girl, you're good. That you're supplementing fine, your B12 marker is okay. And B12 and B6 are both very important for egg health. So funny. All of them are, all the vitamins are, you shouldn't, you know, neglect any of them, but certainly these are on the range for being, you know, on the chart for being important for supporting egg health. So I'm glad to see that I'm not having any, you know, necessarily any issues with my B12 or B6. Again, I mentioned glutathione is a very powerful antioxidant that works a lot in the liver to support and protect the liver health. And again, it is within range, so I'm good on that. And then it just shows you how well your brain is handling neurotransmitter productions, because these are all, of course, very good for maintaining, you know, mood and, you know, all your body's, how things are being stimulated, how messages are being sent from your brain to the rest of your body. So everything seems to be in order on that. And then I already showed you melatonin is good. The last one on here is oxidative stress. Again, this is the one that is associated to being with DNA damage. So I don't have a lot of markers for oxidative stress. You know, the physical or the internal stress is not very high in my body, thankfully, even though I do have a lot of signs of high inflammation, which causes oxidative stress. But currently the damaging component of it thankfully hasn't begun. But this is definitely still a good reminder that I need to manage my inflammation before the oxidative stress and the DNA damage component starts to be an issue. So those are my results. I could have gone over so many more details. I tried to edit as much as I could so that the video wasn't super long, but I hope you got a gist of the amazing wealth of information that you can gather from the test results. And so if you want to know more about what I did to make changes based on my Dutch results, stick around for part 3, where I go over my lifestyle changes, nutrition changes, and even the supplements that I'm adding based on my test results. If you have any questions about anything I shared today, or you want to know more about the test itself, or you're looking for someone to be a provider, you can contact me to be a provider, or you can go to the Dutch website and find a provider there. Be sure to hit the notification button if you don't want to miss part 3, where I go over the changes that I've made based on my Dutch results. So I'll see you next time.